Richard Rellis here with columnist Bob Robb, and a lot of people are excited about the stimulus money that's soon going to be flowing into their bank account. And here, to throw a monkey wrench in it, is Bob Robb. You say that this wasn't a bipartisan bill, and you say that Arizona senators, Kyrsten Sinema and Mark Kelly, should have put the brakes on this.
Well, they've made bipartisanship their trademark. And this wasn't one of those cases where Republicans were just united in opposition and there was no compromise possible. There were 11 Republican senators who put on the table an alternative proposal and wanted to engage with the Biden administration and Democrats in the Senate to try to make this COVID relief bill bipartisan as all the others. By manipulating the budget process, instead, Kelly and Sinema facilitated a partisan cram down of this particular proposal, which is about far more than just COVID relief. And I think it represents a flunking of their first big test of the sincerity of their commitment to bipartisanship and governance.
Now, that would have meant, though, stopping a lot of programs that are proving popular, but you say there's some that are billed as temporary that could likely become permanent under this.
Well, there's two things that the bill does that the Republicans that were willing to deal weren't willing to swallow. One was the size of the package. Only about a third of it's directly related to COVID matters, improving public health or helping people who've lost income as a result of the pandemic. There's over $1 trillion of Keynesian economic stimulus at a time that the economy doesn't seem to need it. Then there was also a lot of redistributive measures that were included. An increase in the child tax credit, an increase in the earned income tax credit, an increase in Obamacare subsidies. These were passed under the guise of COVID relief, even though they don't have much to do with it, and were made temporary. But there's no question that Democrats will want to continue these policies, which means that the acknowledged effect on the federal debt is in fact substantially understated.
Do you think that they're politicians, obviously, they're political animals. Is there a gap between wishing to be bipartisan but also wishing to be pragmatic and know what's possible to get done?
There is that tension, and I believe Sinema is sincere in her desire for bipartisan governance. I think she's had a long enough track record to judge the sincerity of that commitment. Kelly is a newcomer. He doesn't have that track record. So the sincerity of his profession, I think, is more in doubt. But this was where you kind of put that tension that you described to the test. And being part of the partisan cram down was more important to the two of them than putting the brakes on the process during what would occur in terms of feedback from their own side of the aisle in order to require bipartisanship on something big. If you're bipartisan on only the small stuff, that's not really bipartisan governance. There will be subsequent tests. This reconciliation process is planned to be at least in two additional times, one supposedly coming shortly. So I do think that the willingness to pervert this process to accomplish partisan ends rather than dealing with the issue directly by abolishing the filibuster does test the sincerity of what was the chief claim of both Sinema and Kelly to be elected to represent the state of Arizona in Washington, that they wouldn't be part of the partisan game that controls events there.
Yeah, and I guess with such a razor-thin majority, it's going to be hard for them to hold their principles, it sounds like, and buck the system from going forward.
It will be intense.